It said, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between. It seems like there's a ton of people here. Um, I have no idea how many. So am I live now, guys? Can you please? Yes, I think so. Because there's no like yellow thing around my face. So I was just wondering if everything is okay. We can hear you. Thank you so much, Veronica. That's awesome. Um, yes, so welcome everybody to this hackathon week. We are starting this week in a very exciting way because I'm going to quickly take you through the program so we can just dive right into it. So for today, we basically are going to have some talks because we want to instill in all of you the principles of Fair Data Society and Swarm. We also want to show you the stuff you can be working with and around this week and maybe give you some ideas on how you can build and contribute. We're also going to be teaming up and basically do some basic matchmaking because some people here are, they subscribed as an individual. Some of you subscribed as a team. So we'll try to bring everybody together so you can have a beautiful hack week. May I ask you just some housekeeping rules? May I ask you to mute yourself while you're not speaking? This Zoom call is not like previous events, like everybody can talk and show their faces, but please only do this maybe when I invite you to. So as I said, today is the opening day. I will be having a really interesting fireside chat with Gregor later. After that, you will get demos from FairDrive, FairOS, and Get Login. And I think that's it. Maybe some more. I have to check. We'll go through the entire program later. So without further ado, I would like to ask Gregor. I hope he's here. Gregor, are you here? And can someone explain to me why sometimes there's like a yellow, a yellow border around someone and then sometimes not? I think that's a little bit weird. So anyway, Gregor, it would
Hi,
be
Michelle.
lovely.
I see a
Ah,
yellow border around you now. But when I
ah,
speak, it switches to me.
okay. So does this? Okay, now it yes. Now I saw it jumped back to me. So I guess this means, um, that's active speaker has the yellow. Gasper is telling me. So Gregor, welcome. I know you have been looking forward to this week. I mean, me too. We both have been very excited about this week for weeks now. Let me start by asking you, what would be the most wonderful outcome for you? If at Sunday night you look back at this week, what would you be happy about?
The most, having good time, having the week behind us where we had good time. And as part of good time is also being inspired by all the new ideas, to see how the fair data stack emerges, how projects build on Swarm, and maybe within that, my personal preference would be to see as many as possible applications, thin applications, building, connecting to FairDrive, and showing how the world of data interoperability and data sovereignty would look like. So that then, in this way, we basically kickstart, I would call it the sandbox of fair data economy, so that we can just experiment and collaborate all the projects among each
Okay.
other.
I'm just gonna keep asking questions, right? So
Yeah.
just can you like shortly explain what you mean with fair data economy and like maybe we should first talk a little bit about the so for some people it might be weird that Swarm and Fair Data Society and they're like both organizing this hackathon. Are you who's doing what? So can you please first explain like who's organizing this hackathon?
Yes. So the hackathon, the first Fair Data Society hackathon, is organized by the wonderful people of Swarm. So the comms team, the ops team, the developer side, the whole team of Swarm kind of got together. We hope that the second Fair Data Society hackathon will be organized by Swarm and many others. Now, to kind of understand why it's not a swarm hackathon, why it's a fair data society hackathon. Um, it's We need to provide a bit more context, and it's the context here through explaining what fair data stack is and
Yes.
what we mean with that. So fair data stack is how we envision that is the best way for a fair data economy to be started. Now, okay, so I answered something with providing another, term. So what is fair data economy? In
Hmm.
short, we can touch upon it later, but in short, it's an alternative to what we call today surveillance capitalism. It's a data economy where individuals and all stakeholders have same rights, have like equal possibilities of participation, where human rights are respected and individuals are not exploited. And it's a bit like, fair trade, but fair data in the digital. However, the big difference is that when we buy fair trade coffee, we think of, nations that are far away and people that are far away. But fair data is actually relevant for all of us who are online.
So
So,
okay, so I just want to dive a little bit deeper in that. So
yeah,
if I buy fair data, I would say, so if I buy fair trade coffee, for instance, right?
yes.
Basically, basically the idea is that I know that I'm paying a price that's correct, and the producer of this coffee will get a fair amount of money for that. I mean, how on earth can you compare this to Facebook?
Well, Facebook is not fair data. I would hardly claim that Facebook is fair data, actually. I think it's quite the antithesis of it. So um, it's essentially exactly this, it's when you say like human rights being respected, such as privacy, or if we speak about digital integrity or data sovereignty, none of these things really happen with Facebook. And we know, this phrase on Facebook, you are the product, and Facebook is making money with you. This looks like exploitation of the individual. So it's definitely not a data economy where all the participants have the same rights. So I think why we are here in large, also in this decentralized space, is because we fundamentally recognize that the system is broken and we want to fix it. And this is, I think, also an important part. I think we all are here not just to solve the technical challenges, how something computes to 42, but we all want to see that our technology, what we develop, is used for good.
Yeah,
That there's positive social impact. Yeah.
because I think in the past, and then I'm thinking about, like, the way Silicon Valley was how it grew. I think a lot of people forgot about ethics, right? And they just kept building and making things because they were cool. Like the like button, nobody ever thought it would be misused, or could be used to like Nazis, right? Or like very aggressive speech, etc. So maybe an interesting sentence, I think, for you to respond to is, the expression, well, it's not an expression, or the quote, how do you turn democracy into a tyranny? You do nothing, right?
Yes, yes, it's an
Who said
ancient
that?
quote from old Greece. I think it was Plato. So it's like way, way beyond internet or our times or anything, but shows basically this strong human nature, And it's also this is definitely a very strong point, and this basically happens if we don't speak about values, if we don't recognize this overarching moral truth as a society. Then we lose compass. Then it becomes who's the loudest, and this is basically the ascent of the tyrants. The loudest and the more convincing rise to the top and deconstruct democracy in essence. So, and yeah, this is nothing new. But now what we see today, it's actually also technology being used to quite amplify and facilitate this for personal agendas. So yeah, it's a big problem. And at the same time, when you mention ethics, it's also other thing, it's like I would say that in general, humans, we don't do things on purpose wrong. Nobody does something and say, I know it's wrong, but I'm still going to do it. Everybody has some kind of justification, and
Mhm.
there's this saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And sometimes it might just seem when we do something that we are building something cool, but from the outside, from the distance, the community people can recognize and give other inputs. No, maybe you should do it differently. And here, if we recognize ethics by design, the importance of it, this then it's not just something, to bolt on after you do it. It's actually it takes you into the thinking mode to do actually best possible things. It's a framework of thought and design to come up with the best solutions. So yeah, this is, I think, needed so that we don't repeat past mistakes also.
So can you then maybe maybe in short explain Swarm is of course the base layer of this, you call it the fair data stack or the fair stack. Can you maybe quickly go through that? Like it's a virtual architecture, but can you go through it?
Yes, it's kind of, in a way, also a mental model, I would say, to easily compartmentalize things. So, and here we also drew inspiration from Ethereum, from seeing as how in DeFi, for example, Ethereum mainnet blockchain is this fat protocol. It takes most time to develop, most developers. Then we have like this second layer which are protocols like Uniswap, Compound, Maker, etc. And then we have like this top layer, the thin applications layer, where development is possible to be done very fast by just using these building blocks and creating experiences out of it, creating services out of it. So we see a bit similar logic happening in Swarm, but also for other reasons. And here comes also ethics into play. Now, Swarm is this pet protocol. It's the base layer. It's been developed for a very long time, and it's something that needs to also happen with the community. At the same time, when we speak about either, yes, also ethics or regulation, like GDPR, things like GDPR are something we cannot ignore, but they don't have anything to do on this base layer. It's same as you don't put regulation on the internet protocol. Now, the second layer here, where we speak of the layer of the protocols, is in Swarm's case where the tech meets the social. It's Fair Data Society initiative. It's where we discuss the shared values, where we recognize the shared values and fine-tune them, and where the protocols happen and developer tooling. This is where we facilitate development and at the same time set the ethical constraints of the space. Now, the third layer is where business is getting unlocked. It's like if on the second layer, liberties and human rights are preserved, then within that space, we then, through ethics by design, can create new businesses that provide better value for the users and actually uh, in this way can also empower digital freedom in the most optimal way by enabling the tools and the whole momentum of developers. I think we as developers we don't recognize how big our responsibility and power is in the world that of the future that we are going to shape. So this is like different touch points, where projects can get in. Some projects here develop protocols, should be thinking how these protocols fit with others, how then the thin applications can easily use them. On the other side, uh, dev developers who are more on the front end side should think like how can we leverage all this force from layer 2. So yeah, it's exciting.
I think you make a really good point. At night I turn into a developer when when the daylight ends, and I sometimes feel like, especially with this Corona thing, you feel like isolated, and what kind of impact can one person have, right, by writing some code or even writing a spec. But I think it's like really important, especially for this group of people here, to realize how impactful the stuff is that we're doing. I I sometimes like to compare it with like a balloon. And right now the balloon is not yet inflated, right? But we're all like we're all drawing stuff on this balloon, and it feels like a stupid job to do, and it feels like we're not having any impact. But once this balloon gets inflated, because more and more people start using the stuff that we are coming up with, you actually see that you have like a major impact. And I think, if you look at, like you said, if you look at Ethereum, it was like 10, 15 people who were thinking about it 4 or 5 years ago, and building it, and look what amazing impact this has on the entire world. I just want to say this because I find it important that we all feel empowered, and just know that the things we're doing are very important, and we should definitely think about the ethical side of it, so we don't end up in the same kind of world we are in now, right?
It's a very good point, and even I would say, if we look at how this impact potential is growing. So WhatsApp, when it was bought by Facebook, I think it had something like 50 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Then, you mentioned now a dozen people who started Ethereum. When we look at projects like Uniswap, I think it started with one person and then it was like two, and it's shifting immense amounts. Then when we look at DeFi projects that Andrew Cronje is developing, it's like one man team creating really huge projects. And in a way, Swarm even augments this because the applications are instantly forkable. It's like one developer can build on the shoulder of the giants, so to speak, of the other developers. And yes, I think it's like each developer needs to ask the question, why? Why am I building this?
Definitely. Also, I hope for this week that we inspire each other, because we have sort of, how do you call it, it's like a bird's eye view, because, for instance, with all the grants recipients of the Swarm grants, I feel very lucky to do, I'm in comms, in the communications team for Swarm. So I see all the projects right around, and the whole ecosystem around Swarm. And it's quite amazing, the stuff that, and the ideas that people are building out on top of Swarm. So I hope we can also, just share with each other what we are building on. I think one major thing we should definitely discuss, Gregor, is interoperability. We are always saying like the user should be in charge and should be the owner of the data. But it's not only because this frees the user from being a data slave, I would say, but also because we will open up all new possibilities when this data would be interoperable. Can you maybe give some examples of that, and just talk about that?
Yes, happy to do that. So
I know.
it's like something. Data interoperability in our context, in what we do, and in the space that we are, it's actually really a low-hanging fruit, so to speak. Like something that we need to go afterwards. We see every blockchain project that is working something with personal data or data in general. They say it in a big way: we respect your privacy, the data belongs to you, etc. These things, and this is good. This is really good. It's a step forward. And as a user, I can imagine, in 2, 3 years when technology matures, that I'm using mostly dApps, all the data is with me. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
problem that happens is if I have 100 user accounts and this data is scattered around, then we are missing actually the most sexy part of the data. It's when data can work together and creates more data and new experiences. So it's the same thing as if I have my data over 100 USB keys, it does not work well. But if I have all my data together in simplified sense, I can see that when there's sun, there's a higher chance of me, going out, which then positively affects my mood and I sleep better. I don't know. Doesn't
Maybe
matter
just
anymore.
like, okay, but let's maybe make this very concrete, right? Let's
Yes,
give this a very concrete example.
yes,
So, if this vision of data interoperability works out, Yeah, what will my future look like in a couple of, I would say weeks, but that's not realistically. But like in a while, how would I be using my data and a fair drive, for instance?
So basically, first maybe here the fair data stack can help. Now, fair drive in that sense will act as personal data protocols. So different apps, different solutions, different data stores, different decentralized storage networks all connect to fair drive, and for the user, the data is accessible from one point. That developers can very easily basically have like a backend, so self-sovereign backend as a service in a way for the users. They can through privacy-centric apps actually also create data-rich apps with using data from other apps and create new experiences. And it's I think development itself will be faster. We as users, as individuals, will be empowered by actually recognizing rather the things that technology can do for us without worrying. And Also, others, I think participants in the data economy will see that there's actually more value being unlocked. So, in a way, technology should be working for us and we should be developing human-centric solutions. So, fast development and a lot more benefits for users. Now, my kind of long-term wish, so to speak, is I could see with data interoperability, we also ensure data sovereignty, which is the foundations of digital freedom in this sense. But we can also, when we say that we unlock a fair data economy, maybe sometime in the future, we can create a bottom-up currency that comes from data, and this actually enables things like universal basic income, which is coming from the value of data. So yeah. I think it's all on us if we rather want to have like the data economy and the data society democratic, or if we want to have it controlled by a handful.
That's yeah, that's a very dramatic sentence, but it's completely true, I think. I just want to tell like everybody in this call with us, it's 41 people currently, which is a lot, I think, for a hackathon. So if you have any questions, please, the chat is open on my screen. We also have Casper and Miha who are sort of moderating and feeding me questions. So if you have any question, please just ask it. Sorry for the housekeeping, Gregor. I also want to invite you all to join the Telegram channel, the B support channel, because this will be like the headquarters sort of for this week, where you can ask all these questions. And I also want to invite you later to GatherTown, where we can sort of network and hang out in a lounge. All these links will be shared in the Telegram group, which is the B support channel. Gregor, let's do a small like preview of what people can expect this week. About the talks, let's start with what kind of talks and demos we will have.
So of course, we need to cover all new things around the Swarm network and B. There will be a day dedicated to this. There will be a day dedicated to dev developers, focusing around all the support and the projects being developed, like FairOS and FairDrive. I think this can be really big catalyst of the ecosystem around which also collaboration can happen. We will have a day about fair data economy. So with a very good workshop by Trilateral on Swarm, GDPR, and data commons. Looking very much forward to this. Of course, it's Liberate Data Week, so we will speak about uploading data to Swarm about OpenStreetMaps. This is going to be quite exciting. Then they on Saturday we plan Open Day, and there's already quite a bunch of projects that said that they would present. So I'm looking really forward to that. And then, of course, the closing day. Now, I kind of see that I think we lost Michelle. So I guess it's Michelle, here you are. I just finished with Sunday that we have a closing right on time.
Okay, awesome. So my I don't know why, but Zoom crashed. I don't know. So let's go maybe over the rules and like how people can actually participate in the hackathon. I'm just gonna quickly open up this document. Maybe we can also share this document, of course, in the B Telegram group. Um, so you can participate in this hackathon as a team or as an individual. If you are an individual looking for a team, please again join the B support group on Telegram, and then you will be sort of matchmaking, or you will be matched up by people will be inviting you, or you can just say what you would like to work on and what kind of team you want. Let's go over the rules of the competition. All dApps must use Swarm features. All dApps must be open source, of course. The user must be owner of their data. All dApps must be aligned with the Fair Data Society principles, which you can find by clicking the link also in the document that is going to be shared in the Telegram group. And each prototype or mock-up must be that is being presented at the hackathon be an original work. So yeah, I think this is like mainly like very straightforward things. Maybe more important, Gregor, is that we go over some ideas. So our team has been brainstorming on some ideas of stuff that could be built. There basically are two main categories. The first one is thin dApps made on top of Swarm and Fair Data, Fair Drive and Fair OS. And the other category is creating data sets and uploading them to Swarm. So Gregor, let's start with the first one, with the dApps. What kind of thin dApps would you like to see?
So maybe before I answer this, I would actually make even a step back so that we see the forest instead of the tree. And what we need to stress is the importance of collaboration. Maybe not collaboration within the hackathon, but thinking how does whatever I'm building, be that a protocol or a dApp, how does it fit the larger picture? In a way, like, like in Unix, where you have like different commands doing different things and they bring together the operating system in this sense. So, and this is the only way if we really also want to present an alternative to the incumbents now, only through collaboration. This is also what data interoperability, after all, is about. Now, if you go to the thin applications section, it's here we should we like to see basically playful things, experimentation. In a way, we've been discussing yesterday how it could be possible. For example, I write something in Markdown and it's Markdown shortcode. I save it to Fair Drive. Then InstaSwarm as decentralized marketplaces reads that file, knows, okay, what I want to buy, organizes me a dedicated feed just into that, So it's basically let's discover how data flows, how it travels, how we decouple data and UI. A good maybe a good way just to brainstorm for ideas could be Airtable. Airtable project does similar things, but in a centralized way, and they do it just on their servers. But they have a bunch of templates that basically play with all kinds of different data. So this is one thing, like how do we save data, how do we read data, how do we play with it? The other part that would be also very much exciting to see, and this is something I also want to play, So I know that we have OpenStreetMaps demos coming up and public pods. Uh, I want to somehow use this geodata in my hackathon dApp, where I kind of do maybe reverse geo lookup or something, just so that I I get to experience, this first thrill of kind of using API on Swarm under quotes, it's not like that, but yes. So, yeah, let's see, don't limit the imagination, just run with it. And
I think we have so much talent in this
uh,
group, with a lot of imagination. So it's just quickly,
and here,
someone is asking.
maybe it's also important to say if you have some idea, and you see that maybe there are some obstacles because there's something missing either in the dev tooling or not knowing what. Our developers have all said that they are going to be in special mode, waiting for questions, providing assistance. It's great time to also discover what kind of features maybe you miss in B and in the developer tooling. So. Yeah, it's about having fun. I remember just one thing that we also didn't mention,
Okay.
and we were speaking about that there would be also rewards if people that that it's okay to apply also to IT Denver
Oh
hackathon.
yes, yes. This is a very important. Yes, this is very important. Yes, please
Yeah.
explain it, Gregor.
Oh, I thought you were going to explain.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
It'll be fine.
so
Yes.
basically we discussed that it's quite a big overlap with the IT Denver hackathon. And we welcome and would like to somehow incentivize or reward all the projects who are taking part in our hackathon to also just apply at IT Denver. So, you are already working on a project, it's exciting project. This is two for the price of one, I guess.
Yes. Yes, it's true. Just one quick thing. Someone is asking me if they can record these sessions. I'm totally okay with that. Everything that we do is open source and can be shared. We definitely even like it when this kind of stuff gets shared. But please, for like any everybody participating, if you don't want to be I would say recognizable, or you want to be anonymous, etc., please refrain from showing your face, basically, because this is all being recorded. I just want to stipulate that. So, Gregor, we have been talking now about some DApp ideas, but as you said, like there's also a big, I think, a big focus on data sets and data in general, because a data network like Swarm, of course, becomes way more valuable when there's actual use of data. So what can our participants do to work around data sets?
So for this, it's probably best to follow Zahur's demo and workshops. Around Faroe, Zahur has been making progress on public pods so that public data sets can be shared. And yes, it's again, it's like one thing is it's even also to think about like trying to get in this thinking mode. What is all the data that does good for humanity? And then we start thinking, how do we get it on Swarm, because it should be there. And especially in times that we live today, I would even argue the only thing that we can trust is verifiable data. And Swarm plays here it's crucial role. So once we have verified data and it's uploaded in proper way to Swarm, this data is there to stay.
Yes.
Eventually, I guess.
Eventually,
When,
yes.
when, when the storage incentives kick in.
Yeah, because I want to say that, like, you all have to know, participating in the hackathon, you definitely have to realize that we are that this software is very innovative software. We are in, I don't know which stage we are, like alpha, beta, etc. But know that there can be breaking changes in the future. That API endpoints can change. It's something, I think, if you're in this space and you're in this call, you are familiar with finding documentation and just researching how stuff works. But as Gregor said, like there's going to be a lot of people from the team ready to support you in the Telegram group.
We're also this is very good, Michelle. Very good that you pointed out. I mean, this goes recognition to all developers building on top of Swarm. You are part of this wild ride, where we are actually going into uncharted territory. So it's like not everybody is up for task like that, Some it's like here the changes happen quickly. We are going forward, and sometimes even then after a while we get this confirmation. I was very happy, for example, to see now with all these Trump and Twitter stories happening at the beginning of the year, where in like traditional blogs, they're saying there should be Twitter protocol and then Twitter app, and if Twitter app doesn't like something, people can move, but they still use the protocol. So yes, I have. It feels to me that Michelle froze again. So, uh, calling on technical support. Did we lose Michelle?
Yes, unfortunately, the Zoom crashed again, but she will be online very soon. So just bear with us, please.
All right. Okay, so I think we actually covered everything, and we are slowly getting ready for the demos part. Now I don't have the program with me just yet, but uh,
It is my
the
turn,
demo.
Gregor.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
welcome Kent to the stage.
Hello,
All right.
everyone. Sorry, I'm getting used to the second camera. Cool. Shall I kick it off? I need to share my
So,
screen.
yes, Kent, so maybe, yeah, maybe an intro. What are we going to see, or just a demo, however you prefer?
Sure. No, my name is Ken Furry. I come from the team Linum Labs. We've been working closely with Swarm for quite a long time. Yeah, I think we've known the Swarm team in and out for over a year now. And we've been responsible for quite a little bit of things in what you'll see in the next week. What I'm going to be showing you today is one of the nicest kind of file explorers you're going to find on Swarm, and kind of like a retrofit of getLoginIth, which is Igor Shadrin's library, which allows you to kind of have single sign-on, gas-free onboarding. So I'm going to share my screen and just kick it off. If that's all right. Cool. So let me go back. I'll be presenting FairDrive and getLoginIth. FairDrive was not my baby. Actually, it was one of the Swarm team's baby. It was actually Michelle that coded this. As she says, she's a midnight coder and very good one at that. getLoginIth is a system created by Igor Shadrin, and it has been shown before, but we have put them together. So let's get into it. Firstly, FairDrive is a decentralized storage on Swarm. It works with Faro SDFS, which connects to the Bean client. You run Faro SDFS, which is the file server on a server, and FairDrive can connect to that. So if you're running FairDrive as a front-end app, you can connect to different Faro S endpoints if you like. Your data is yours. So all of this data is stored on Swarm. How does it work? So the data is encrypted out of the box. It stores essentially creates new pods, and you can store the data in pods, and you have control over your data because it uses encryption and mnemonic to create the user account that has access to this, and you log in with a nice username and password. So that's always a nice bonus. So usually when you create a FairDrive account, you generate a mnemonic. And you have to obviously go through the steps of recalling that mnemonic. You choose your avatar and your username and password, and then your account is created. You can upload data and folders, and you can share those too. And as long as your instance is running, you have access to that data. As long as you can log out, log in, it'll always be there for you. Now, creating an account with getLoginIth. So the mnemonic is generated by getLoginIth. In the past, getLoginIth has used a private key as an invite source, but we've kind of changed this around to use the mnemonic. This means that you could essentially create a linked account into FairDrive with almost any mnemonic. So if you have a Trezor or a Ledger, I know it doesn't exist just yet, but if you're able to essentially create an account and or get the mnemonic from that old account, you can kind of link these two. When you create the account with this invite, it basically creates the same account on FairDrive and get login F, so you'll be able to log in and get your wallet from the blockchain, but you'll also be able to use that inside FairDrive and access your data. What get login Eth is, as I mentioned before, and I'm not going to go over this because it's a great video which Danny did with Igor in March 2020. But essentially, what get login Eth does is it allows you to access a wallet that's stored on the blockchain. Yes, a lot of people are going to ask, like, yeah, this can be compromised and all these sort of things. It's not supposed to be super safe. It's just supposed to be a gasless onboarding tool. And you know, the wallet that you use to sign on with has a very small amount of ETH. And if it ever gets compromised, you can use essentially the person that created the invite for you. You can retrieve that backwards. And yes, it uses also a username and password. So we kind of merge them together. And let's just go into it. So demo time, jump out of that. So firstly, let's log out of get login Eth first. I'm going to merge these two demos together because they're kind of one and the same. I can show them individually, but I can show them working together. First, let's just make an account with FairDrive without get login Eth. As you would create an account. You have a bunch of, you've got a mnemonic and you have to remember your seed phrase. Yes, I have an amazing memory. You can upload a avatar if you like. I don't think that this is working on my side. We've had some issues with Windows in the past. Let's try again. Rather, let's just try with get login Eth rather. So I'm just going to sign in with get login Eth. Currently, the repos for get login Eth are ready to be used on localhost. So any of the developers or hackers are able to pull it down, use it with Hardhat, run it locally, change things as well. So you guys can use that as well for your hacks. You are more than welcome to use this endpoint. You can reach out to me on Telegram as BMac if you want an invite. I am inside the support group. So firstly, we create an invite. We grab this, usually it would be that, and we can go through the steps. So I want to create a new user. Let's create Mac 2000, nice password, put in the mnemonic. Oh, got insufficient gas for that one. I'll just try again. Sometimes the network can be a little bit buggy. Come on, give me the gas. Oh, there we go. My user has been created. So firstly, we can go, this is now our kind of file explorer in FairDrive, very nice. We can go into different folders, we can create different folders. Let me upload a little picture. Grab a nice one of when I got engaged, pop that up. Awesome. So now that's stored there. and go back to my fair drive. I can add another folder if I like. It'll add the folder. If I log out, I can log back in again as well. But the really cool part is if I log out here, and now I have access to that wallet here as well. So now I have an account that is stored on the blockchain. I can rip that down. I can use this to log into other apps with the username and password that links. So we've got single sign-on, and we can log into our fair drive. So if you essentially pull the API code from fair drive, you could essentially put that into your dApp and log into fair drive, but also you can also just put a little bit of code to go and get the user from the blockchain contract, which is also inside one of these repos. So I'm sure that you guys can figure out how to do really, really cool things with this. And yeah, let me just log out and show you guys that you can log back in again, and my file will still be there. I can download my file. Yep, and it's there. Boom. Some more cool things that you can do with get login eth is, as you can see here, we've got some sessions. You can obviously change your password. Please go steal my account, I dare you. And you can obviously always create more invites. I just logged into the new user that I created in Fair Drive. So I created, when I created the user, I sent it 0.1 eth. Obviously, this can be changed depending on how much you need to send it or how much you want to use. I would suggest just playing around with gas values there because we have been having issues over the last week, but generally this is there for you to use. Let me know if you guys need any of these invites. I'm more than happy to help. And that is my presentation.
Awesome, Kent. I get like sweaty hand palms every time someone's doing a demo, to be honest. But this like went very well, and thank you so much. So as
Thank you very much. I also get sweaty hand palms.
I can imagine. It's just like
awesome demo.
Yeah, isn't it? So if people, we are really like very well on schedule. So if anyone has questions for Kent, please, ask your questions. And if not, I'll just ask Gregor. What do you think about what you just saw?
I love it. I love it. It's maybe also, it's yeah, we need to provide a bit also background to it. So, what did we see actually now? So, the directory structure that we saw, this is coming from FairOS, and FairOS acts as the first data store within FairDrive. However, we feel and we anticipate that down the road there will be many different stores, maybe some with specialized use cases like I don't know, semantic data or connecting to other data stores in a really true multi-ecosystem fashion to IPFS, etc. The other part that we saw was with get login, but here it's important to see like it's a couple of things that are here important to stress. One thing is, where does get login fit into the picture? And it's Fair Drive, and with get login is actually get login augments it that it really can work for better adoption for onboarding users from Web 2 into the Web 3 space. Now, the other also important thing that I find really exciting that we showed with this demo is Fair Drive is meant to be an ecosystem initiative. So get login just presents like the first demonstration how a project is working with Fair Drive project. And this is actually a call to action to all other developers. If you are developing a protocol, think of it, how can it go into the Fair Drive flow? So I know that among our grantees is, for example, a protocol being done for document signing. This, document signing already suggests like many cases how this can be integrated. And at the same time, it works both ways. So that protocol is also being seen by more people in the ecosystem. So we plan many upgrades on FedDrive. This is on the feature side. Still, in terms of the project or application, we should think of it like, uh, you know, we never pay attention to the file explorer or the Finder app on our computer, but it's essential one, no matter which operating system we use. So FairDrive is not meant to be the shiniest app around, but it's definitely a crucial app to help either users or developers to move forward. Now, the other thing also, it's we encourage, if you have ideas how FairDrive can work for your project or how it can be extended with the stuff that you do, please do reach out to us. We also plan that rather sooner than later, we will start FairDrive improvement proposal process so that how FIPS.
FIPS.
Yes, FIPS. So that it truly becomes like this collaborative project of the whole ecosystem, where it also helps with adoption and moving
So,
faster together.
So maybe this is a question for Kent. Someone is Dimitri Palchun. I hope I pronounced this correctly. And if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I'm so sorry. I'm from Belgium. He's asking, could you please provide a link to coding examples? So if Kent, if you can maybe throw that into the in the Telegram B support group, it will be cool. Then Rinke is mentioning, this is like a straw man because Rinke is actually the team lead for the development of B. And he's commenting, your data is absolutely yours. How do you guarantee this? Well, Rinke, as you know, everything that is being saved on a node, on a Storm node, is encrypted. And so even the node operator, well, first off, it is like hashed into little chunks. So, even and these are encrypted. So it's going to be really hard to puzzle that all back together and decrypt it. It's not only very hard, I think it's just impossible, actually. Voila. Any more questions for Kent? Or anyone? No? So I think, Gregor, what do you think? Shall we continue with the program? Oh, no.
Yes.
Am I offline again?
No, just my mute button didn't respond.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ken, for brilliant demo.
Yes, and my internet connection is unstable. I'm very sorry for that. I know it's very unprofessional, but I think it's because I have 5 kids in the house who are doing Netflix and homeschooling, etc. I'll try to get them off the internet. So let's continue our program. If I'm still live, I think so, yes. Let's continue with the program, which is going to be Rinke. We already mentioned him. Rinke is the team lead for the development of B. Rinke, are you here? And Rinke has the wonderful, how you say it, like the wonderful task of doing the presentation, the grand opening of Bazaar. So Rinke, take it away, please.
Right, so do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah?
Yes.
Right, I need to share my screen. Oh, it's taking a bit of time with Zoom.
It's totally okay. There's so many issues. Yes.
And I think these are black boxes. So.
Oh, you forgot the non-binary people there. So it's, if you write ladies and gentlemen, you should definitely also write and others. So.
Ladies, gentlemen, and others. Here we are at the grand opening of the Bazaar, and it's my honor to announce this. So the Bazaar is not this, because this would be a bazaar with an A in between, but the Bazaar is what you're seeing here. So what you're seeing here is a website, which I will shortly give the URL to. And this website is replacing the old Swarm faucet, which those people who run B have certainly found. From now onwards, you won't go to get those tokens from the faucet. but you actually will be able to purchase those tokens with Girly ETH. So you can purchase Girly BCZ with a Girly ETH. And you're very welcome on the bazaar to purchase and sell Girly BCZ for Girly ETH, to purchase and sell Girly BCZ for Girly DAI, to directly mint to your Swarm address, which is super convenient because you're going to use this Girly BCC with your Swarm node. And also to get to know the latest price for Girly BCC. And really, with the launch of the bazaar, I believe that Swarm is a giant step closer towards the mainnet release. And the Swarm team is extremely grateful to the work of Linum Labs, which they put together to make this beautiful front end, but also all the smart contracts underlying the bazaar. However, integration of B with the bazaar required a breaking change, and that is the main message of my presentation. Because this breaking change was needed because the bazaar required a new token, and the B nodes, they work with one token only, right? So the B nodes which are not updated, they will come new nodes in the network who are going to try and to connect with those B nodes, and they will tell, oh, I want you to pay with this particular token. And then those old nodes, they will look and no, that's not the token I know, you're trying to trick me or whatever, I'm not going to connect to you. So this is going to happen. And practically, it means that those nodes that are not upgraded will not make a connection to those nodes that are upgraded, right? So as you can imagine, we're facing a bit of turbulence in the network here. Therefore, I need to ask all the node operators to, as soon as we release version 0.5.0, which includes the integration with the bazaar, we are going to update our network, and we ask you kindly to also update your nodes. And the estimated time that we are going to do this is tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we do the release. And after that, I think it's maybe half an hour or 1 hour until our nodes are upgraded. Now, if you're not doing this, what is going to happen, right? First of all, you probably see a lot of error messages telling that you could not connect to certain peers, or that certain peers were trying to misbehave or whatever. So that's going to happen. But also, while not all the nodes are updated, it may be that that your data is not, you cannot get your data from the Swarm network. Now, we are expecting that this will eventually stabilize once a majority of the nodes is updated, but Swarm is a peer-to-peer network, so we cannot guarantee that. And therefore, the advice, if you're storing any important data on Swarm, please back up this data. Yeah. And now the grand opening, because I believe it's already live, and this front end is so intuitive, I'm not even going to show you. I want to give you the pleasure of playing with it yourself. So definitely do play with it at bzz.eatswarm.org. And that's my presentation. I'm keeping it very short today. The only last thing I want to mention is that if you are intrigued by the bazaar and you want to learn more, mostly about how it's working under the hood, then Veronica is going to give a talk on Wednesday, and I wholeheartedly recommend everybody to be there. That's it.
Thank you, Rinke. Very good. Be there with 2 E's, of course. Rinke, what if I'm running like a DApp node or an Avado? Do you think they will also do updates? Is this version, so basically my question is this going to be tagged as a new release? So, you know, are these things going to be updated automatically?
So I don't know how DAppNode or Avado work under the hood, but I'm quite sure that they have some auto update mechanism, meaning that if you're running B via DAppNode or Avado, they will find that there is a new release and they will update your DAppNode as soon as this is needed.
Yeah.
And Therefore, for those users, I'm actually not expecting that much disruption. Maybe only that some data temporarily won't be unavailable.
And one more question. So my data directory, if I upgrade to this new version, my data will just still be there, right?
So in order to understand this question, you need to understand a bit how it works in Swarm under the hood, because your data is not really on your node, but your data is spread around literally over all the nodes in the whole network. So what is going to happen tomorrow morning is that once we update our network, maybe half of the nodes are updated and the other half not. Now, if your node is in the old network, it will try to fetch your data, but it will only reach half of the network. So it will return, I can't find everything. If you are updating your node, then you are part in this new network, then you will still not find your data because the old nodes have part of your data. So only unless a majority of all the nodes have updated their nodes, then I'm expecting that you will be able to find your data again. But again, this is really difficult. Swarm is a peer-to-peer network. So I cannot tell everybody to update the nodes, even though I'm requesting it now. In the end, it's your decision. So I also cannot guarantee that your data will persist.
Okay, I think it's best to, I keep on repeating this, but if you need any support with, updating this new version or making sure it runs, you can find Rinke and other team members in the Telegram group with the B support channel. And Rinke, you promised me you would be there all week, so I hope you will be.
Yes, in normal times. I'm not going
well,
to be
if you
there at
don't get
midnight,
corona,
normal
right?
times, yes.
Or did you? Yes. No, let's not discuss your private medical situation, because hey, it's privacy. Eh? So thank you, Rinke, so much for your talk, and yeah, it's very exciting. Anything else you wanted to tell this specific audience?
Do let us know your experience. I can't repeat this more like often enough. If you're using B, if you're using the bazaar and anything, I'm always very happy to hear from your experiences. And yes, this is new and experimental software, and yeah, we cannot make this alone. We are building this for the users. I'm so happy seeing more than 50 people in this call only, and I'm sure also people watch from Twitter. So that's great. And yeah, I want to know all your experiences, good or bad.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Rinke, and we'll be seeing you on Wednesday, I think, because I think on Wednesday you will be the host of the day. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to not being the host so I can do some hacking on Wednesday. Thank you, Rinke, and I'll talk to you soon. Next up, we are like, oh, someone is speaking. Kent, you're speaking Dutch. It's probably Afrikaans, right? That's really interesting. Anyhow, next up, and we're ahead of schedule. This has never happened before. I don't know how this is even possible. So ahead of schedule, I hope Zahor is already here because he was actually scheduled, 20 minutes from now. Oh, there he is, my friend. And your beard just keeps growing. It's amazing. Zahor, is it like a challenge? Is it like a statement where you say like, I will shave my beard if feet is in the B node or something like that, or is it just like aesthetical?
I just want to grow it until like 1.5 feet or something like that.
Okay, what is that in centimeters?
Sorry?
What is that in centimeters?
1 feet is like, I think 30 centimeters or something like that.
Oh God, yes, that's amazing. Okay. Okay, so Zahor, you're gonna demo FairOS, your brainchild, and show us how we can use public pod. So I'm looking forward to this presentation so much. So let's dive into it, right?
Yeah, thank you very much, Michelle. I'm going to actually talk about public pods, explain a little bit about that since it's a new feature, and then go to the demo. And I'm already having sweaty hands. So let's see. Let me share the screen. And there you go. I hope people see the screen. And I want to put this in presentation mode.
Yeah, we can see the screen and hear you perfect.
Fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to speak about FairOS DFS in particular, especially giving more emphasis to a recent feature called public pods. Before that, I thought I will just spend some time and take advantage of we running earlier and give you some uh, this thing about FairOS if you have actually forgotten or you're not attended last time. So FairOS DFS as a layer, it's actually a thin business logic only layer on top of B. You have Swarm B running underneath, and on top of it, you run FairOS DFS. The reason for building FairOS DFS is to expose, is to make the lives of the dApp developers easier. When you come from Web 2 world, in Web 2 world, you have front end and then there's a back end. And inside the back end, there is like, a layer, middleware layer where you write logic. It can be Node.js, it can be PHP, whatever. And then there is a storage layer, which can be some sort of database, MySQL database or NoSQL database. But when you actually switch to Web 3.0, the issue is that you have the storage layer and then you have the front end, that means the browser, and there is nothing in between. Swarm is very good in actually providing basic storage functionalities like uploading a file, storing chunks, and doing a lot of crypto stuff. But if you want to make the life of the developer easier, you have to expose things which are very similar to Web 2.0. So what FairOS actually does is that it exposes APIs to create certain things like, first is user management, so that you could actually create users and store user related password and all these kinds of stuff, which is slightly different in Web 3 world. You have to create HD wallet and things like that. And then what it provides important is actually a concept called pod. A pod is a logical drive, very similar to how you create, like partitions in your physical drive. You can create pods or Swarm, that is logical drives, decentralized logical drives. And these drives can actually hold different kinds of data. There are three types of data that I support today. One is actually the file system. That means you can actually create file system like stuff like you can create files, upload files, you can create directories and so on, right? And like very file system like interface. And then there is a key value interface, which is very similar to any key value DB, like level DB and things like that. And then another construct which comes out of this is actually the document database, which is useful to store a lot of other structures, schemaless structures, very similar to how people are used to MongoDB. So all these are Swarm native. When I say Swarm native, FairOS DFS doesn't store anything. It is stateless. It stores all the data and metadata in B, except only one bit, which, so you can say 99% of the data is stored here. The only data that is not stored is the relationship between a username and a key. So this is right now stored locally, but I'm actually planning to store that, push that into B layer. So then it will become like 100%. And then you have other things like permission management, and then, like payments. If you want to expose things like, I want to build things like Dropbox like stuff. You want to charge every user based on how much file he is uploading and things like that. You take from Swarm and expose this in a very nicer way to the, all of the layers. In the top layer, the DApp layer, there is already, as actually, Kent did a demo, there is Fair Drive, which actually uses this underneath to go, create users, store files and things like that. There is also a DFS CLI that comes with this, which gives a sort of REPL-like interface for you to speak with DFS. And then there is like Fair Drive Connect. There is a JavaScript library which can be used by other dApps. I call it Fair dApps since they are like using fair stuff, to actually store application related data. So just think like this. I mean, if I use email, all my email data will be stored in a pod called email, and that would be accessible only to that application, and I would have full control over my email data. So I can, even if they are in the same format, if they are in some standardized format, I can even switch to another email app, and still have my same same data visible there. So yeah, so this is a slight precursor towards coming, right? So a pod. So a pod is a logical drive, as I said, like C: in Windows or /home partition in Linux. But the very nature is very decentralized, since everything is stored over SOM. They're easy to create because it's just creation of key pairs, so it's very cheap. It's encouraged to create as many pods as you want. A pod can have like these three things. One is file system, and then key value store, and then the document store, as I explained. Okay, and you could actually also share files or data. So this is where public pods come into picture. Let's say I want to create some data and expose this data to outside world, to other people. It can be any data set. It can be a public good data set. It can be a data set that is required by a lot of other apps. It can be a data set that I curated. It can be a machine learning data set. It can be data sets like Wikipedia, whatever. So if I want to actually store that in a pod and expose it to outside world, the best way to do is to actually create something called as public pods. So when you create a pod, you store the data, and then you just mark the pod as public, and then you will get a reference. So you can give this reference to anybody in the internet, and they would be able to access your data in read-only mode. This is important because you can, now suddenly starting to publish your data, which only you could actually do the writing, any modification. Others can only read. So this is like a nicer way to expose data, still have the control over it. It's anonymous. You don't have to know which person is exposing this data. You just have to know that this is the key, and then you take the shared reference, and then you could suddenly access all the data. How to make the pod public? So what the owner does is he actually creates a pod, he uploads file or data. It can be file or it can be a database also. Like let's say I create a database, and it contains some elements, some rows, some documents and all these things. I can even expose that, so that other applications can directly call this API and then can read the data, right? And then the third step is you just share the pod and give the sharing reference to other people in the internet. And the guy who want to read the data just executes a command called receive pod and gives the sharing reference, and then he has access to all the data. So this is how it goes. Again, it's in a slightly what do you call it, diagrammatic way. So a FAIROS owner, a pod owner can create, upload, share the pod. It goes to the B nodes, it gets circulated in the B network, and anybody, anywhere can use the sharing reference and then can start accessing the data. Now, this is very powerful since you can, let's say, as an example, what I'm going to show is, usually there is this thing called as OpenStreetMaps, right? OpenStreetMaps, they expose, like free map data of every region in the world. And you could, and they have their own, like server, API server from which you can just access it and, can actually download it. Now, in a decentralized world, let's say if you are building a decentralized app and it's not good, let's say if you are building a decentralized ride sharing app, you want to access the map, but you don't want to access a centralized server to get the map data. So if somebody puts this map data in actually public pod inside a document DB and exposes this to outside world, then any app can suddenly start accessing OpenStreetMap data in a decentralized fashion. This is so powerful. So you don't have to go outside of the Swarm environment to access these kinds of data sets. This is just one example. Another example is like, let's say if I, like push Ethereum transaction data set inside a pod, inside a DB, and expose that. And I keep on inserting that in the background, this, the latest data gets always exposed. So anybody who actually reads the data, so anybody can build an app, something like Etherscan, in a very decentralized fashion by just looking at the data. I know they can very easily access the data. You don't have to duplicate the data. The data will be available and everybody can access the data. So that is the whole point of it. It avoids duplication. It avoids it avoids going outside of the decentralized environment and still be like contained inside that in a very anonymous fashion, right? So let's go to the demo. So I'm going to do that in my local machine, but there is an api.fairos.io. You can even do there. I'm just going to stick to my, okay, so this is the machine. So this thing is like this. Just give me a second. Ta-da. So the setup is like this, okay? So I have B1 and B2 on, the terminal is B1 and the bottom terminal is B2. So these two B talk to each other. And I have one FAIROS DFS connected to this B, another FAIROS DFS connected to this B, and I'm using the DFS CLI, or you can use any front-end app. It can be any browser-based app, whatever, but I'm just using the, what do you call, command line app, just to show how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, or it's already created. So there is a user called user1 in this FAIROS DFS, and there is a pod. There is another user here called user2, and there is a pod called pod2. So I'm going to put something in this pod and make this pod public and access that pod from this user. So that, so there is no connection between these two pharaohs. Everything will go here in the B network and everything will be read from the B network. So that's just to, show to you in a very controlled fashion. I have created this setup. So this is the B. I'm going to shut down the B just to show to you that I hope that this is big enough and you could see this. Sorry for this. Okay, so I'm going to start B1 here, and I'm going to start B2 here. You can see that, okay, I have set this B as, the top B as the boot node of this B. So it got connected. Now I'm going to the Pharaoh DFS. I'm creating that in a separate directory, giving a separate, different data directory for this one. So it runs in port 1990 and it has a perf port 1991. So I'm going to actually give a different data directory for this one, a different port, so that there is no clash since I'm running in the same machine. I'm going to go to the CLI just to make sure this. So I'm going to run both the CLI. In the top, I'm going to log in into user 1. And you could see if you do pod ls, there is only one pod. I'm going to log into this one as user 2. You could see that there is one pod called pod 2 here. So what I'm going to do is that pod open pod 1. So there is nothing in this pod. I'm going to upload some file. So let me just take this file. I will explain what this file is. So I'm going to upload this file from the local file system into DFS. Dot says that upload in the present directory in the DFS, and 10 MB is actually the block size. This actually splits the file into bigger blocks, something like how Swarm splits the file into smaller chunks. Pharaoh does into bigger blocks. This is for future use. And there is compression. There is gzip or snappy compression. So you could actually store files in a compressed format. So this file is like 97 MB. I'm going to just gzip it and store it. So this is getting stored now. So you can see that, the blocks are uploaded. So this is the, since I use encryption, it's like a 64 byte reference. So this is the file name and this is the reference. And now you can see the file here. There is a command called stat, which will show the information about the file, something like how stat does in this thing. Here it shows the account, which pod it belongs to, and whether it is zipped or not, what kind of file is this, and these are the different blocks, and each block is of 10 MB, and in a compressed format, it became 1.7 MB. So it is using, it's actually compressing very nicely. Right. So now,
yes. It's Michel. I'm sorry to interrupt, but are you checking, like, there's like some questions in the Zoom chat? I don't know if you're looking at
I'm not looking at that.
Okay, yeah, maybe you can also do it at the end of your talk,
yes,
of course.
But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll go slightly faster.
Sorry for interrupting, Zahor. Please go on.
Yeah. No, no worries. Thank you, Michelle. So I look at this pod. Only this file is there. So what I do is I export pod share pod one. So I give the password and I get the sharing reference. So this is the owner, and he says that, okay, I have made this pod, a public pod now. Now, anybody here, like he can come and once he has this reference, how we get the reference out of band. So pod receive info is a command which will just show you the information about the pod. It will say that this is the pod name and this is the user who exposed it and all these kinds of stuff. I'm actually planning to make this go away so that it becomes totally anonymous, not show the username and things like that. So this is something in my reference. So now after seeing that, okay, everything is fine, I want to import this file. What I can do is I can just go and say receive. So it says that public pod one is added. Now, if you do an ls, you see normal pod, which was my pod, and then a shared pod, which is somebody else's public pod. So now I can actually log into this pod open pod one. You don't need a password because it's only read only, right? So, and then you can actually see the file here. So the same file, I can see it. I can even do a stat on this one. So it's exactly the same file. It's exactly the same file. This belong to the same account. It's the same, exactly same thing, right? So this is how I can use the data of somebody else, and I can start using it. Now, I can also do one more thing. So I can create a document database in this one and see if I could access it here. So I will create a new document database called docnews small sw. SW is Switzerland. So this is a JSON file of OpenStreetMap of Switzerland. Okay, so it looks like this. So every line is a JSON, which can be of type node, way, or relation, if you know OpenStreetMap data. So now I can create a new document database, and then I want to say what are the fields that I want to index. I want to index the type field, and then I want to index the tags field. And I say tags is a map because here tags is a map. You have highway, motor junction, and things like that. Here type equal to node, right? So I'm just giving this thing, and I'm giving this false to say that this is an immutable file. I can create even a mutable file also. So I created this. I opened the database. I just index the JSON. So remember, this file is already there in my pod. Okay, so I'm just saying index this JSON into this particular document table, and use this this file name in my pod as the source to index. Now it will start indexing here. Right, so it has indexed so many lines, and then it will create a manifest internally. It's all Swarm related stuff, right? So you don't have to know all these things. You can just access this as if like a normal API, REST API, right? So it is actually creating an index for tags. It's creating an index for ID. ID is by default. You don't have to give. You give other than ID, it will use the type field and then the tags field, right? So this is the tags field ID, and then next it will go and do the type field. Yes, so this is the type field. Okay, so it says index database. It has done. It has indexed this database. Now let's see how big this file is. So this is like 500 K elements, documents in that. So let's just use some commands. Let's count all the rows in this one. So you could count like this. You could get any document like this. Let's say I want to get this document, for example. So I give the ID of that and I get the document back. So you can see that this document has Mobley's syntax off, will make life easier. So this document has Mobley's, network Mobley's, Wikidata and all these things. So this is network Mobley's, Wikidata. So you could also do things like find as you do in MongoDB. Small SW, you can say, you can give an expression now. You can say where tags equal to, let's search for a dam. Waterway dam, okay? So let's waterway dam. Dam, and then I want to, you can also give the limit. Let's say I give the limit 2. So it fetches me 2 documents about this, right? So I can actually search for anything. I can search for a city, I can search for amenity cafe, I can search for anything. Like I do. So this is exactly the same search as you see in the OpenStreetMap left side of OpenStreetMap. If you log into OpenStreetMap, this is exactly what you will see. And what you can also do is that you could, let's say if you want to just count this, you could also give it like this. So there are like 3 dams in this data set. So there are a lot of things like that. Let's say crossing ref zebra or something different. Barrier, border control, right? I don't know what that is. Border control. So there are like 106 barrier border controls of this one. So now this is in my pod, this the pod of the owner, right? So now I can do the same thing here also because I've logged in here. So I do a doc ls, I suddenly see this here also. I created just now here, right? So I can, other person can open small sw, something exactly like, exactly as if it's his data. He could just, open the database and then count SW and exactly like that, right? So you now can share a file. So whatever the owner updates, let's say the owner uploads one more file, upload, let's upload one more file, okay? Some junk file in my, okay, pp.txt, right? Upload users jmoza pp.txt.10 MB snappy, for example, just for fun, right? This is uploading the file. It's done. So now this has it. The file pp is here and the file is also here. So it has also come here. So this is a very nice way for you to share your data with others, with the people in your organization, with the people over the internet, and this is what this actually gives. All this is all about. That is all about my demo. I also want you all to look at the different things I have, like, if you want to look at the code, you can always go to Fair Data Society, FairOS DFS. If you want to look at the documentation, you can go to fairos.io. If you want the API gateway, like, let's say you could actually, try stuff like this. So this is the API gateway. And now I'm connecting to the API gateway. I have a user called demo1, right? What are pods in this one? Okay, there is a pod 1, pod open, pod 1, right? And I have some data, OSM data here, right? So let's say, so this is the entire Switzerland JSON tags, which I'm going to index and make it available over this week. And everybody can start using this data like an OpenStreetMap data, right? And so this is the very important thing that we want to bring into the culture, that we want to add more open data sets into Swarm and make it available to people in a nicer way, in a way in which he can query, he can search, he can update, he can get the data in a programmable friendly way, and can show in his front end depth, right? So now suddenly the static website that you can upload in Swarm can function like a dynamic website, right? Something like how we are used to do in Web 2.0. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to show. And also I wanted to show fairos.io. So this is, I'm sorry, fairos.io. So this is the entire documentation about FairOS. The FairOS, the different layers of FairOS architecture, things about FairOS, the API reference documentation. I have done in a open API way that you could look at all the. There's a user documentation. There's a documentation about pods, API parts, about file system, key value store, documents, everything. And there are screencasts where I have just created videos for introduction, file sharing, adding a new device, public pods, blah, 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 all these things. And I strongly recommend you to go through this and give me feedback. It's new. If you find some errors, please update it. This is our GitHub. The latest release is here. You can just download for Mac OS and Linux for now. I have not tested in Windows, so I have no guarantees about that. So this is a beta release, which it's bug fix. It's not buff fix. So yeah, that is all I wanted to talk. And practice plural. There is a Telegram channel. You are welcome to always come to the Telegram channel and ping me or ping anybody there. I think I am done. Back to Michelle.
Zahur, amazing. You're by now you're almost like a preacher, like preaching the gospel of FairOS. I love to see this presentation, and actually, even I know what you've been up to, and I'm like pleasantly surprised by the progress you're making, because this is going so fast. It's amazing. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. It says, I hope you can still hear me. But Zahur, let's go over some questions, because in the chat, yes, there were some questions. Let's start with the first one. Dimitri Palchun, again, who is really active. We like that. Is it possible to revoke the pod read access if you already granted it, and hide the future changes?
By theory, if you're sharing something with anybody, you cannot unshare it, right? Even if you unshare it, even if you find a way to unshare it, they might have already downloaded the data. So there's no point in unsharing. So no, the question is no, you cannot unshare it.
The answer is no, but what about future changes? Can you say like, you're not gonna get future updates?
We can do that. Yeah, we can do that, but there are some nitty-gritties that I have to go through for that.
Okay, so I just want to inform the audience, when Zahur says we can do that, it means it is not yet implemented, but it seems like a good idea. I just wanted to, so people know what to expect when they go through the API documentation. Okay, another question is, oh my God, this is a complicated one. So I hope I'm understanding this correctly. Updating the data in the pod requires a republish of the shared reference. So for example, a new chunk address is generated at every update, or pods are using feeds. Yeah, okay, I think you understand this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the pods are using feeds. So updating the pod doesn't need to, as you actually see in the demo, I updated the pod and I didn't share the new reference, right? So
Yeah.
you do it only once, and the other guys who are always reading that will always get the latest update. Internally, as you said, it's using feeds.
So Dimitri, again, is the document stored locally? So basically, if I spin up my own FairOS instance, can I do the cool Swiss road search?
Yes, you can. Right now, the demo that I showed is, it's private network, but I'm going to put that in the B gateway, and this is going to be in the Swarm network itself. So I will do that soon, and will give the information in the Telegram channel. After that, you could just, just import the pod and then can access the data. Yes.
Amazing. Oh, Dimitri, if you want, you can just unmute and show yourself and maybe ask the question yourself if you feel up for that.
Just a moment, LJ.
Hello, Dimitri.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. The question is about huge files. So if you share, if I see the file shared with me, does it mean I see the reference stored locally on my computer, or I see the file, entirely file stored on my file locally? If I search the file, does it mean the search needs to download all the file locally, or the search goes through the network without downloading the huge file?
I hope you're talking about the document database, right? So if you insert, let's say
Yes.
if your document database is really large database, okay, so there are like two versions of it. One version is like, if it is really big file, it will only download the chunk that you are searching, right? So it will download the indexes, and using the indexes, it will only download the file, or only download the piece of the file that you are actually searching, not the entire file, right? In another version, you can actually say that don't even download the index. Even the index is like stored in Swarm, and when you search, the index is also downloaded as and when it is required, right? So there is like two versions, where the first version is you download the index but not the actual data file. In the second version, you don't even download the index. So it will be slightly slower, but yeah, I think you get the point, right? So you don't need any local storage. You can use that in mobiles and things like that, because it will just get exactly the chunk that you are searching, or you are going to touch in the index. So index is also in Swarm. It's also chunked. It's also a file, right? I think I hope
Okay. Does it work for encrypted files?
Yes, everything is encrypted by default. Everything is encrypted.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. So yes, I think we covered the questions. I hope, Sahor, that in this week you will also be joining the Telegram group, and that you would be available for support and helping people out, because I think I can speak for myself. It is very much fun working with you. You're always very helpful and try to get to a really great result. So I always love working with you, and I hope we can share that with many more people.
Same here.
Well, thank you, Zahur. So did we have anything else?
I'll be hanging around in the Telegram support channel. If anybody needs anything, ping me.
All right, thank you so much, Zahur. And yes, I'll be seeing more of you the coming days, as always. Thank you, Zahur. Okay, I would like to invite Gregor again. Gregor?
Yes.
I'm so happy you're still here.
Of course.
Did you see how what's a better word for the F word? Did you see how friggin' cool that was?
Yes. It's like it's getting real. It's getting real. We can see how everything could work, how it's possible.
Not only that, like
it's possible.
So in yes, thank you for the lovely shirt. Do you want to also send a link to the chat where people can buy this shirt? Or
no, I don't have any affiliate links.
Okay, just checking. Okay. So when Zahur was talking about this, it must have been one of the previous events. I have to be honest, I was thinking like, yeah, right. I first want to see it before I believe it. And actually, like almost, I think everything Zahur ever was talking about, he achieves to make it real, even though I don't fully understand it technically. But I know this is an amazing feature, right? Like in a previous, a few years ago, I was working really hard on making ride sharing or like an Uber-like experience possible in a decentralized way. And like one of the major obstacles was like, oh yeah, shit, we need a maps view, right? We need to see a car moving from A to B or even an address lookup, like I'm here and I want to go there. And to see this actually happening is really amazing. So I would like to invite everybody to figure out how to basically upload your own country and to make sure that we have like the whole world on Swarm, right?
Yes, this now enables really, I would say, like community driven, not, I don't know if activism is even the right word, it's like engagement. It's becoming really easy to support and host like public good data through running a bnode. It's like I had like while watching Zahur's demo, I had like these two parallel thoughts also going. One thing is exactly what we are discussing now, basically the possibilities for dApps. But I've been thinking also how FairOS is really a good demonstration of the possibilities Swarm is unlocking, like working on the chunk level, all the things that can be enabled, all kinds of different protocols, all middleware solutions. And this really gives me a good feeling for future. Like what will we see, like what kind of solutions also invented, new kinds of things. So yeah.
It also gives me a really good feeling.
Yes.
It makes my tummy very happy. Anyhow, so I would love to see, I don't know, but is Victor here? I have no idea because there's so many people here.
Yes, I am.
Ah, how lovely. So Victor, so yes, I guess I don't need to announce you with this bunch of people. I sort of asked Victor by surprise, or caught him by surprise, and I want to ask him, like, Victor, we're gonna build an entire week. We're gonna hack on Swarm and on FairDrive and do stuff. What would be your number one thing you would like to see happening, that shows off Swarm?
I mean, it would be nice to see a demonstration of the maybe it's a long shot, the vision that we basically two dApps, some sort of maybe even some simpler social dApps would show their actually their user content in your drive. So it would be like, imagine the idea is to have like your Twitter and your Facebook data basically sitting on your fair drive. Sorry, as if it was sitting on your Dropbox, and basically switching Facebook providers would be like basically just go to a different UI which accesses the same data. So
I think there's literally a research group within Twitter right now, like trying to do that, but they're like terribly underfunded as far as I know.
Underfunded.
Yeah, they just gave it to like.
They probably still, being Twitter underfunded probably means that they have twice as much funding as we do, at least.
But they can still apply for a grant.
But we should
get us one grant.
But we should bring them the good news that Twitter is super possible and super easy to implement.
Well, actually, I was speaking to I think it was Veronica. Veronica, I don't know if you're here still. Is Veronica here? Veronica. So I don't know who this is actually, but anyway, so in the B support group or the hackathon chat group, Veronica was actually looking, I think, for front-end dev to do a Twitter-like thing on top of Swarm. So I think, Victor, maybe that dream will become a reality by the end of the week.
Amazing. I think we just got implemented in the B new version, so I think you can directly use that through the JS. What else? I mean, I think this would already be quite an achievement to see something like this, even if it's like not giving real justice to the usefulness of Twitter and then the other side. So let's give credit to where it's due, but just the whole idea of the data organization, really, just to demonstrate how data sovereignty really would look like. I mean, it's we're living early days, so it's obviously a little bit of cheating because it's not serious without encryption and stuff like this, or without proper access management. That is, but I think you can already you can do encryption. So.
Yeah, so I guess it's it's good to just start trying to do stuff, right? Even if it's not still the ideal world. Yeah.
The other interesting thing is obviously like databases, and even if it's simply like static asset based, like OpenStreetMaps is a very good example of that. Obviously, these all would attain full usefulness only if there's proper indexing, proper cataloging, proper lookup and search algorithms running on it. This is all going to be possible.
So Victor, will you be hanging around in some chat groups this week? I think it would be cool if the audience here could ask you some questions as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer anything. I mean, I can't promise I'm going to read every single line of the support channel, but I'm always available for any questions.
Lovely. So I would say thank you so much, Victor. It was really nice for you.
Victor, do you have maybe any tips also for those who want to go deeper into Swarm, like or are thinking about middleware solutions, or those backend and algorithm guys, so to speak?
Well, not much written. I mean, I have a paper in preparation that describes such a data structure that you can put on Swarm, but really that's the whole point is that any kind of functional data structure can be encoded as a Swarm native structure. So it's really a lot of opportunities there. What is my long-term vision, of course, in this area, which I already kind of gave talks about like 3 years ago, is basically publicly provable, verifiable indexing and database lookups, which means that if it's verifiable, then basically you can use the Swarm as a public provable source against against the providers. So basically, you can combine the idea of trustless service provision and beefy database servers, because even if the database is the database queries are served through and kind of more efficient server-based solutions, you can still protect yourself with making it provable on Swarm data. So that's really the long-term vision, to combine both, to combine performance like latency with provability and therefore trustlessness. I think that would give a real proper elastic cloud solution to a lot of things. And of course, this is needed as an ingredient to Web3 backends, because in the whole ideal, whole vision is that it's not only static data serving and basically storage, but we're actually hosting websites. And in 2020 something, website means a real-time interactive web application, which means that there's not only client-side operations through some JavaScript in the browser, but there's usually kind of heavy algorithmic stuff going on in the background on servers, and we want to do it serverless. So there has to be kind of a whole backend that replaces this layer, basically the server layer of applications, and that's exactly what we're aiming for in the long run.
Well,
but now I think it's just nice to see maybe OpenStreetMaps and similar initiatives. We just try out the basic functionality.
Yeah, it seems like Zahor is sort of the Willy Wonka of Swarm, because I think he made like a candy store, right? It's like there's so much stuff to be discovered and to do. So he's like single-handedly, I feel like he's making this backend at least a start for that. I was really impressed by that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Anyway, Gregor, if you're fine with it, we have like 2 or 1 minute before it's 5. My fingers are itching to start hacking. I don't know how you feel about writing some code and hooking up B nodes and doing all that kind of stuff, because we also took sort of a week off to hack. What are you going to work on, Gregor?
Well, I don't know yet. I just want to give everything a spin, have a look at it. Then I would maybe play a bit in Python and save, upload some data. I don't know.
In Python, amazing.
Yes. I would like to see how to load the data, do something, and save it back. So what exactly, I don't know yet. I have here a bunch of Raspberry Pis ready already and some stuff. So, but first they're trying out.
Awesome. Well, Victor, I want to thank you as always. It's lovely to see your face. Yeah, I missed that. My network connection was dropping. But Gregor, what was just said?
Just wishing good luck to the participants.
Yes, of course, definitely. So. Yes, before we close this opening day session, Gregor, I think we still need to say one more thing, which is you can go to gather.town, and this link will be shared in the Telegram group. It's basically what is this? It's not even a first person thing. It's like a very basic
arcade world.
Yes, it's an arcade world. I think it's really fun. It's the place where we can hang out, and it's close to the experience we would have if we would be together in a venue, which we cannot have right now. Is there anything else, Gregor, that you want to say before we close it for this day? I mean, we're not closing it. We're just closing this live thing, right?
No.
So I mean, just start hacking. I hope you all
let the fun begin. Let the fun begin.
Yeah, let the fun part begin. Yes. Okay.
Well,
so let's stay in touch. Well, does anyone else want to say something or share something? I'll count to 5 if nobody is I will be. Rinke will be in Gathertown. Okay, so Rinke is already in Gathertown. So, oh, do I hear someone?
Yes, it is me, Zahur again.
Hey, Zahur again.
How do we go and what do you call, register the teams and things like that for the hackathon?
Yeah, I don't think we really have all that. So you can just team up in the Telegram group, just start hacking. Gregor, do people even have to announce like that they're building something, or how does this work even?
I don't know.
So we don't know. No, nobody knows. So let's figure that out in the Telegram group. The idea is that by Sunday, we have some really cool demos of projects, and we're going to throw those in front of a jury. I think in the coming days, this jury will be announced.
Yes.
I know already a lot of these names, and these are like very interesting people, very smart people in our decentralized space. And I'm already happy to be meeting them on Sunday. So
good people. I would say, it's like we are taking it quite easy and relaxed. So in essence, all the demos that show up on Sunday at 4 p.m., that's it, be that either you come as individual or as a team or
it's all good.
Or other.
And there is prize money. Of course, we'll be giving out bus tokens. You can read all the details in the Medium post that we wrote. What else is there? I don't know. I think this is sort of it. If you have any questions, please ping us in the Telegram group, and I'll see you in Gathertown in a bit. Right, Gregor? Will you be there?
Just going there.
Okay, let's have a virtual beer in Gathertown. Yes, goodbye everybody. Thank you for your attention.